Okay, my Math 3 scholars, this is the last video we're going to do on polynomial functions in standard form with the given zeros. So when you are given the zeros of a polynomial function, you can find a polynomial function in standard form, and that's the note that I have up here for you. Now, the way that we do that is by looking at the zeros that we've been given. So now, if you'll remember when we had x equals 0, and I'm going to refer back up here. When we had x equals 0 as one of our zeros, then its factor was an x. So that means I can come down here, and where I see this 0, I can put an x. Okay? Now, if we ended up with a -3, let's see if I ended up with a negative up here anywhere. Well, here we did. We ended up with a -2, and that meant that our factor was x plus 2. So down here, this is going to be an x plus 3 factor. When you have a positive 2, you'll notice up here, we had a positive 3 right here, and our factor was x minus 3. So if it's positive, it's going to be an x minus the number. So this is going to be x minus 2. And then, again, we've got a negative, so that's going to be an x plus 2. Okay, now once you get that, it becomes a multiplying thing. So now we're going to multiply. Now I'm going to multiply x times x plus 3 first. So x times x is x squared, and x times 3 is 3x. And I've still got this out here. Okay, now I'm going to multiply these two because I recognize that this is a difference of squares. So when I multiply them, I'm going to get x squared minus 4 because my outer and inner terms are going to cancel. That's going to be plus 2x minus 2x, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So I'm going to have x squared minus 4 there, and x squared plus 3x here. Now, the last step we're going to do is to multiply these, okay? So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times -4 would be a -4x squared. 3x times x squared is positive 3x cubed, and 3x times -4 is a -12x. Now basically the last thing I need to do is make sure that I write this in standard form. So I'm going to start with my largest exponent, x to the 4th, then the plus 3x cubed, then minus 4x squared, and last would be minus 12x. And this would be your final answer. Okay, now on E, it says that it's a -1 with a multiplicity of 3. So remember that that multiplicity means that it happens multiple times. So this -1, remember if it's a negative, that means it's a plus, because it was -2, so I did x plus 2. So this is going to be a -1 that's going to be x plus 1. But since it's a multiplicity of 3, I'm going to have that factor 3 times. So we're going to write it down 3 times. And then we're going to multiply. So I'm going to do x plus 1 times x plus 1. That's x squared plus 1x plus 1x would be plus 2x, and then plus 1. And then I've got to multiply that by x plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to do x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 1 is x squared. Then I'm going to move to the 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times 1 is 2x. Then I'm going to go to 1. 1 times x is x. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, now we're going to combine like terms. I only have 1x cubed, so I'm going to put that. And I'm going to start with my largest exponent and go down. Then I have x squared plus 2x squared is going to give me a plus 3x squared. And I'm going to mark those off because I took care of them. 2x plus x is going to be plus 3x. Mark those off, and then I have the plus 1 on the end. So this is my polynomial function. All right, you guys pause the video, try F and G, and then come back and I'll work them. Okay, for F, you should have had an x plus 2. That's from that -2. an x minus 2, which is from the positive 2, and an x plus 3, which comes from that negative 3. Okay, I'm going to multiply x plus 2 times x minus 2, and hopefully you recognize that's a difference of squares. So that's going to be x squared minus 4 times x plus 3. Okay, x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 3 is a positive 3x squared. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x, and negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12. And this would be your answer for example F. Our last example, G, notice you had the number negative 2 twice. So that means you're going to have an x plus 2 twice. And you're going to have an x minus 2 because of the positive 2, and an x minus 3 because of the positive 3. Okay, I'm going to multiply these two first. That's going to be x squared plus 2x is going to be plus 4x. And then 2 times 2 would be 4. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply these two over here. X times x is x squared. Then we have minus 3x minus 2x is going to be a negative 5x. And then minus 2 times negative 3 is going to be a positive 6. Okay, now I've got to multiply each of these by each of these. So I'm going to start with the x squared and multiply it by each of these. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times negative 5x is negative 5x cubed. X squared times 6 is plus 6x squared. Okay, now I'm going to move to the 4x and multiply it by each of these. 4x times x is 4x cubed. 4x times negative 5x is negative 20x squared. 4x times 6 is positive 24x. Now I'm going to move to the 4 and multiply it by each of these. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 5x is negative 20x. And 4 times 6 is a positive 24. Oops, sorry, went off the edge there. Okay, now we're going to combine like terms. There is only one x to the 4th. You want to start with your largest exponent. There's only one x to the 4th, so I'm going to write it down. Then you can see there are two x cubes. So we're going to do negative 5 plus 4 is a negative 1, so that's going to be a negative x cubed. And I'm going to mark those out. If you mark them out, you're least likely to mess up, okay? Then 6 minus 20, that's going to be a negative 14, but then I have a plus 4 out here, x squared. So negative 14 plus 4 is going to be a negative 10x squared. And I'm going to mark out all my x squareds then. Then I move to x. 24x minus 20x is a positive 4x. Mark those out. And then I have the plus 24 on the end. And this would be your final answer there. All right, guys. As always, if you have questions, let me know.